why do the Valdezes have such aching hearts?
They're the sad boys. Healing the genome.
Yeah.
And really flushing out the neon natural.
We create a fucking cesspool so that we can celebrate like the two people who get out of the cesspool. Highly unnatural.
Highly unnatural. Natural.
Good morning. My name is Harris. Welcome to Jared to Jared. On this week's episode, the Jareds will discuss NASA, changing our genetic code, the unnatural, Thich Nhat Hanh, and much, much more. Let's get started.
All right, what do you got on the record?
On the record. All right.
On the record.
Here we go. So, was watching Bill Maher last night, or a couple of nights ago, and they're talking about Artemis. And Bill Maher's curmudgeon. He doesn't want to go to the moon, doesn't want to go to Mars. He just wants to fix the Earth, right? He doesn't think it's going to help anybody at any time.
Okay.
And then he brought up the question to the panel, what's this all for? Like, why? You know, why even have this? And one of the guys said, he's like a political podcaster, was like, it brings hope to the nation. It brings everybody hope and, you know, something to look forward to, something to wake up to, whatever. And Bill Maher was like, that's bullshit. You can't freaking spend $100 billion for hope, you know, whatever. Like, you know, why are we doing this? Let's clean up the environment, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I was kind of on the fence. I was like, I don't know necessarily hope. I guess I kind of do see that. But I think it's multifaceted. Because if we go to the moon, we go to Mars, colonize, whatever, we personally may not be able to go to the moon or, you know, be able to live through the good things that brings. But humans in 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, comet comes, whatever, we can all go to Mars, or we set up telescopes over there. You know, the whole evolution of the species, well, yeah, it's prolonging that. It's prolonging our future human selves, you know, so we can explore more, grow more, what have you. Or are you more on the Bill Maher side where you're just like, this is a waste of fucking money, you know?
This is great. I knew you'd have a question.
Or Y-Files where you're just like, Christopher Nolan was directing the whole thing. It never happened, you know?
The moon's not real, man. The moon's not real. Well, I don't think it's an either or. I don't think it has to be, are we going to the moon or are we cleaning up the environment? I don't know why. It seems like a false dichotomy.
Okay.
To me.
Right.
That said, does it generate that much hope? No. What would generate hope is making life affordable and education accessible and, and clean water available and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
No, I don't give a shit that they're going to the fucking moon. It's like,
right.
It's like, bro, eggs are like $10 a carton. Like that's bothering me. Like it would give me way more hope if egg prices drop back down to like $2.50 a carton,
sure.
Which they never will.
Right. Because
now they realized, we can charge them $1,000 for a carton of eggs and they're still going to buy it. So we're going to keep charging it.
Exactly.
That's just what keeps happening.
And then CEOs have record numbers, you know, buying yachts, egg yachts.
Yeah, egg yachts. Dude.
Right.
The egg economy, the economy is getting out of control. But so no, that doesn't bring me hope. Does it spark my curiosity and my fascination? Yeah, in the same way that bringing back the dire wolf did.
Right.
I was really fascinated by that. I was like, this is so weird.
Right.
And they're working on the mammoth now.
Right.
You know, so it's like so weird. Fascinating and cool, but does it give me hope for the future of humanity? No, it just kind of freaks me out a bit.
Sure.
Going to the moon, I think it's great for curiosity, great for science. I'm a huge proponent of going to the moon. Right. Colonize Mars, yeah, go for it. That said, let's not turn it into a utopia because wherever you go, there you are.
Right. That kind of thing. Right.
And that happens all the time personally. That happens. If I move to this new exciting city, then I'll be good. If I go into this new exciting relationship, then I'll be good.
Right.
Never happens. Yeah.
Right. Though I think there is that statement is true for the individual more. Because if we look at the global human, right, I do believe there has been degressions, of course, but also progressions.
Sure.
Through science, through, health, food, whatever.
Yeah.
So by us doing space exploration still, this is a step in that lot more gradual step of progress, right? And it's not necessarily about, oh, fuck Earth, I want to go live in Mars now, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But telescopes, like I was saying, whatever, some cataclysmic thing happens to the Earth, another place for us to live or to blast off spaceships from, freaking 10,000 years from now, whatever the case, the humankind then will certainly have a huge leap of evolution as to us right now. And that's in terms of technology, whatever the case. Now, this brings up a good sci-fi sidebar. Will do those advancements advance the human self? So if we think back to our old time from question. The village America to 2026 America, is the individual health of the citizen, does it also progress with health and science, exploration, all this stuff? Or has it degraded even more, Yeah,
it's so hard to measure these sorts of
time
things.
From today.
Yeah, it's so hard to measure these sorts of things because on one hand, okay, think of dentistry before the industrial age. Just I say industrial age because just like that's when you're getting mass produced medications or painkillers and stuff like that. So just dentistry in like the 1900s or 1800s or 1700s. Terrifying to think about. Am I going to go, if there's a time machine and I need to get some dental work done, and am I going to go back to 1825?
Right.
No. Yeah. Same thing with surgeries, just like some creepy dude not washing his hands or wearing gloves or anything.
Right.
Just like licking his fingers and then sticking his hands in your cut open stomach.
Garfield. Yeah.
And you're just like, there's no painkiller. So all you're able to do is just like take a few shots and you're just like, let's go.
Right.
So I would never go back in time for those reasons. That said, I don't know, mental health crisis, et cetera, all that's there, obesity.
Right.
We just got like 25 pounds of food from Burrito Spot, which is fun and great.
Right.
But yeah, I generally
3-gallon horchata.
Yeah. So, and then you look at like, okay, then when I think about AI, I think, okay, this is coming from like the same people who brought us social media and 13-year-old girls offing themselves because of Instagram. It's like the same people are bringing us AI, and it's like, do we trust that? We're gonna do this again? All right, fine. So I just don't, I resist it. I'm like, oof, I think it's a little scary. That said, are people much more, we're not nearly as violent, actually. We are in these like big destructive moments. I mean, we have the atomic bomb and bombing the shit out of Iran and stuff like that. But in day-to-day interactions, people are much softer in a positive way. Right. Than they were in the past. We're not human sacrificing someone in the middle of the plaza.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that, I guess, tribal wars, freaking personal wars. And if someone were to go back to the medieval times, dark ages, the plague, whatever, and you interview people, I'm sure they would have a similar, if not worse, scale of happiness, especially after like 8 of your children died.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like,
right. It's just a different thing.
So this is actually bringing me hope. NASA is quite literally pulling the human race forward. Projects like NASA, like space exploration, like, you know, scientific breakthroughs.
Yeah.
You know, perhaps even AI.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it now, there's a scholar who says we're cyborgs now because we have an external device, the phone.
We've always been
we
cyborgs.
always have on us, right? It's like part of us now. It's like part of the human, you know?
I think we've been cyborgs for the entire time, though.
Right.
The moment that we used our first tool, you know, like that Space Odyssey 2001 moment where he picks up a bone and smashes the other ape's head. Like, I think from that moment on, we've been cyborgs, right? Because now you're introducing tools. Now you're introducing an extension of the physiological body, right? So I guess, how do you define cyborg? But I think we've always been cyborgs.
Sure.
I think humans are just innately cyborgish.
Right.
So to start putting chips in our brains and stuff is actually kind of a natural unfolding for humans.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And surprisingly, I'm not against it.
Nice. I like that. I thought you'd be really against it.
No, I'm all for it.
No, I think you figured it out. Because if we're thinking about natural, got to keep the human being natural, right?
No,
Whatever.
okay, this is a good question.
And it would be unnatural to have the chip in the brain. Well, actually, according to your argument just now,
right,
it's the natural thing to put the chip in.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're on the same. I think. And then that's this question of like, what is the nature of the natural, right? What is natural to human beings? Because usually when people start talking about what is natural for us, it's usually there to bolster, strengthen, and perpetuate some sort of function of power. You know, so I'm thinking of like white supremacists who are like, oh, it's not natural for mixed race couples or something like that, right? It's not natural for us to interact with them, you know? It's usually something like that. Or
vegans.
Vegans. The big power structure of veganism.
Power structure.
Yeah. Or capitalism, like the like what is natural. It's natural for us to be, it's natural selection, literally in the phrase natural selection, survival of the fittest. We need to like fight for our resources and all of that. Right.
Yeah.
It's what's natural to humanity. And it's like, actually, no, that's not at all.
Right.
You know, we literally have mirror neurons in our brains that put us in direct nervous system level conversation with the other people in the space that we're in.
Right.
But we're also meant to just be destroying one another for resources. That those things don't add up for me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So when someone says this is what's natural, I disagree. So someone wants to put chips in their brains and stuff and fly to Mars. I'm like, that's completely natural for human beings. That's great.
Right.
So I'm all for it.
I like that. I like that a lot. Natural alone is so heady too. The naturalist philosophers, right, back in the day, who would sort of like, they were honestly like the most brutal existentialists were like naturalists, you know.
Interesting.
Can't think of one of the premier philosophers of naturalism, but.
Are you talking about naturalism like it was like early 1900s, like those guys?
I think so, yeah.
Who was Stephen Crane?
Stephen Crane might have been a naturalist. I think he was, right? Yeah. I'd like to look into naturalism more.
Yeah, it was a short movement, but...
It was, yeah.
Maggie, Girl of the Streets. You ever read that one?
I didn't, no.
Yeah, it was about this like Irish girl in the Bowery in New York and just how shitty it was. And she gets pushed into being a prostitute and that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But that was all naturalism, right? That was like the...
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is making me think, how is time natural?
It's not.
is time a non-natural then? Non-normative is time.
Well, do you mean time itself, or do you mean our perception of time?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is time itself natural? And the way that we interact with it, is it natural? So I guess they would be both questions.
Yeah.
What is it? Is our perception of time, or is time itself something that's natural? Because it seems like the spirit of the human is taken due to time.
Yeah.
However, we don't really know, right?
Yeah.
Could wake up freaking reincarnated, whatever the case.
Yeah.
Stardust, like galacticism, get blown off the planet eventually onto a comet, onto another planet.
Yeah.
Million years later, you're back here doing Jared to Jared, you know?
Yeah, well, we've done this. We've done Jared to Jared
Sure.
so many times. Dude, we were in Atlantis making Jared to Jared pods.
For sure. Absolutely. Underwater headgear.
So
it was
good.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, here's an interesting thing about time. Is someone in one of my classes shared this with me, and really fascinating perspective. So if you look at child abusers, right? Serious trauma, that kind of thing. So most people who abuse children were themselves abused, right? So the person I was talking to in class, they go, there's so much hatred for like Epstein's and shit. Like there's just so much like you want them to suffer what they've perpetuated, right? It's like you want like a natural eye for an eye kind of consequence in that way, because it's so heinous what they've done. And then once you actually step back and say, well, 99% of these guys actually experienced the abuse already that they're perpetuating, right? So there is this, like, if you invert time, justice is kind of already happening, which is kind of strange. And it's like sort of backwards, but
right.
So the abuser who's perpetuating the abuse has already suffered the consequence of that abuse, but they suffered it in the past.
Right.
So if you're willing to invert time.
Sure.
And it's kind of sci-fi in that way, but I do wonder if justice and karma can work in a non-linear way. Right. So, okay, if time is non-linear and it's actually just our human perceptions that make it linear, then maybe a criminal has already suffered the consequences.
Right.
Or they're going to in time backwards or something.
Sure.
Which is a fascinating idea to me.
Right. Yeah. I think it's super interesting too how we can leap through time. A part of us can leap through time. Yeah. So the great grandpa is, creeper, tiddlywinks, then the grandpa, then the dad, then the son. And it like Epstein can like really span across, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Just one after the other, and then you gotta someone's gotta break the cycle.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's the power of breaking cycles, whatever that cycle is.
But then this made me think of our genetic codes. So if we think of it sort of biologically speaking, there are things that are more natural to us, but the genetic code can be changed. So if you introduce like a disease into the gene pool, then, McHugh's Valdez's will start being hereditary to get cancer, to get heart disease or whatever the case.
Right.
But you can also do things splicing in the genes with like, if like all of us started having kids with just white people, like eventually, and they did with just white people, eventually we'd be more white than brown,
Yeah.
But, and then there's like athletes, they say athletes can like change the genetic code so the next generation's a little bit more athletic. The next generation's a little bit more athletic.
Yeah, this is epigenetics.
Right,
which means I misunderstood when I first learned about epigenetics. I thought it was specifically how just gene expression is handed down generation to generation, but what it actually is how a gene responds to its environment. That's what epigenetics are.
Right.
And then it turns out that has generational significance. It's exactly what you're describing. If for a few generations, because let me back up, because genes have latent qualities. It's almost like a blank paper in a way. And then based on its environment, different things can come out. Like when I spent a lot of time learning about disorders and stuff like that, there's a big interplay of the kind of nature versus nurture thing. So like narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality, all those disorders, there will be a latent gene for it. And then if that individual suffers severe childhood trauma, especially, then that gene is like inflamed and gets expressed. So that's epigenetics.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. It's good to know that the older you get, the less likely it is, but it still can happen.
Sure.
It still can happen, psychosis, whatever the case. People can get it later on, teens, 20s.
We're totally fluid. Yeah, in the psychedelic research, they talk about neuroplasticity.
Right.
Which is just the malleability of neural pathways in the brain and the potential to create new neural pathways and habits and behaviors and all of that. And there are no inherently good. There's not inherently good or bad neuroplasticity. It's completely neutral.
Sure.
Because you could increase someone's neuroplasticity and then make them into Hitler.
Right.
So that's why in that stuff in particular, it's so important that the environment that it happens in, and to be with a safe therapist or whoever's guiding it, all that kind of stuff.
It is reassuring to know, though, that there are some diseases and mental health things like, schizophrenia, whatever the case.
Yeah.
That it is extremely unlikely you get it because it's not in your natural genetic code as well.
Like you're good.
Predispositions.
You are not schizophrenic.
Totally. Yeah. Right. And that's good to know. Or like, there hasn't been much like cancer in either of the families' names.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So maybe that would be lesser. There is heart disease though, so it's one of those things that's interesting because like every Valdez man died of like bad heart attack or something like that.
Interesting. And I wonder if there's a metaphorical and spiritual symbolic quality to that. Why do the Valdezes have such aching hearts?
Wow. We're the sad boys.
The Valdez men.
The baby cry. We feel too much, man. We feel too much.
Just for centuries, Valdez men are just like, oh God, she loved me.
God, she loved me so much. She loved me.
That's hilarious.
But I wonder if you could like then splice in like start like having kids with people that don't have any heart disease.
No, this is real.
And then all of a sudden the line starts getting more cleaner of the heart disease. Oh yeah. So weird.
No, this is totally real. And I remember hearing once in like a biology class or something that the healthiest children are like from the most genetically diverse parents, so if you have I don't know what that would be like. I don't know, someone like if I married someone from Nigeria, and then we had a child, that child would be like in Dragon Ball Z they had Gohan, who was like half Saiyan, half human, and like that actually made him this like chosen being, so yeah, unless that was just some like DEI propaganda in my college.
Oh man. Is there a way where we can start to change our genetic code for the future selves to come,
I think so.
Like, can we?
Or actually not. I think so. I'm gonna put an asterisk next to it, but I know so, at least based on this psychedelic workshop I took. They were talking about how these, and the research they're doing is like unreal. It's like ridiculous,
right?
You know, like gene level scientific stuff that they're doing with it, but it will literally change like how DNA is expressing itself in a positive direction.
Sure.
Which is completely unreal to me. It's just like, what? And apparently that actually gets passed down. And in this book, My Grandmother's Hands, Resma Menakin, he talks about that exact thing. And he's talking about it from a racial perspective, but just that, he goes, when you are clearing out trauma, when we're clearing out trauma in our bodies, you're very, very, very in like a physiologically DNA level way, improving the health of future generations.
Good.
Yeah, and it's like, what? Like that is like some scientific, like science fiction stuff to me. That's totally
like being
unreal.
A doctor of time.
And we're all time doctors.
To study the generational. You have to study not 30 years of work, but 330 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is that level of ancestral work. Ooh. Here's a topic.
All right.
Yeah. Let me share something that I want to ask you about your ancestry.
Okay.
Because it's fascinating. So, using the guidance of that book in my class today, one of the other students was like leading the discussion, and she leads us through this like meditation thing. And she's like, okay, call in, just like open yourself to an ancestor. Right. And it's just like, okay, sure. All right. And just think about it, feel it, just like, okay, just trust it. What's going to come through. Right. And my mind immediately went, because I've been thinking about, I work at Whole Foods. I don't like it. It's annoying me. And it's like, why am I like, I'm working on my second master's. Why am I working at fucking Whole Foods? Right. But there's this like fear of leaving in all the scarcity mindset stuff of just like, well, fuck, I need a paycheck. I don't know what I'm going to do, and all this kind of stuff, and feel like attached to it, even though it's just like kind of causing me stress, and I'm working too many hours while also trying to go to grad school. It's ridiculous. So finally I was like, where's this coming from? Like, why am I so like, around this? And it feels like this like scarcity mindset stuff that I think was inherited, via family growing up during the Great Depression, that generation. And even before that. So what came through today during class was like, just this feeling of like lack and rage, and this like rage against just like feeling this poverty and lack and all of that, and I grew up in the 90s in Long Island. I'm fine. I've never been like growing up in poverty or something. Sure. And then I was like, oh, right. Well, there's the Irish famine. And that was fucking crazy, and that if we zoom out historically was actually not that long ago. Right. That was like 170 years ago.
Sure.
Which like, on a large time scale actually isn't that far back. Right. And if it turns out that we are handing down traumatic memories, that was a really impactful one. And that's a survival mechanism, right? Because we're handing down traumatized genes and memories and all of that to say like starvation is real. Please do something about it so you survive.
Right.
So that's what came through for me during this class. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay. So that's there.
Right.
So I think in that sense, we literally are time doctors.
Sure. It only makes sense too.
Yeah.
If we can pass down all these, mental health, physical health traits.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we're going to pass down through our trauma. Well, then, of course, it can be linked back 4 generations, 5 generations, freaking 8 generations.
Of course.
There's been New Mexicans here for, the Valdez name has been here for freaking 9 generations, whatever the case, Yeah. Colonial settlers, America, Mexican War, freaking, one after the other, the 50s, the 60s, 70s, these sort of things. It's science. It's right there. It's obvious. They get passed down, right?
Yeah.
And we should take moves to change that out of the genome. However, do you then have to have kids?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Or is it more just a personal journey sort of thing? You know,
this is great stuff.
To purge yourself from the past trauma.
Yeah. This writer, Resma Menikin, if you're interested, I'll hand you the book. I think you'd really like it, actually. It's awesome. He's such a good writer. But he says, but he doesn't elaborate on it. So he says, even if you don't have kids, it's still impacting future generations and all of that. But then he doesn't fully elaborate on it. So what do you think?
I mean, but then who would it be influencing? Or would the influence just stop and it'd be a personal thing? You know what I mean? Because the only way to spin that no kids would be that all humans always already are passing along something to future human generations, whether they're directly linked to them or not.
Yeah.
So that may be like the genealogy story of nurture. And then there's the story of nature, which would be through the children. Wherein these two sort of lines overpass and underpass, where nurture influences nature, nature's influencing nurture, etc. Right? Going in that way.
Okay. So more on the nurture side, you're saying it could have an impact.
Right.
If one doesn't have offspring. Yeah.
Right. And then the offspring thing is interesting because it's like, well, I had my kids before I dealt with my trauma, so they still have my trauma. Or I dealt with my trauma and then had my kids, so it was out of the genome, and then I was raised them, nurtured them without that trauma. Therefore, they were even more purged of said trauma as they grew older. Right, you know what I mean? It gets complicated.
It does, yeah, and let's get into that because there's so many ways to cut it.
Yeah.
So first thing I want to share was Thich Nhat Hanh he died a few years ago. He was a Vietnamese Buddhist teacher. Right?
Yes.
Shout out to our Vietnamese listeners out there. Vietnam, what's up?
Yeah. It's the second most listened country other than America. Love it.
So this guy, during the Vietnam War, he was a young man and was a refugee on a boat, just like a crappy little raft, right? And people just fleeing.
Right.
And just like so desperate, they're just like jumping onto this boat, just like, well, hopefully we land somewhere, you know?
Right.
And they called them boat people, and they're Vietnamese refugees, right? So Thich Nhat Hanh uses that as a metaphor for doing that level of self-work, even if you don't have kids. He goes, imagine you're on one of those rafts and everyone's upset. No one is regulated. It's not a good space, right?
Right.
And he goes, if even just one person on that boat, even if you don't know anyone, is just present and calm and regulated within themselves, that's going to help much more than if you are also freaking out.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Because then maybe you could help more because you can like keep your head cool and recognize what's going on and maybe help if you need to help.
Right.
Or you're just a calm person to be around. So someone's having a panic attack or something, and then it's much nicer to be around calm people when that's happening than other people who are panicking.
Right.
And he goes, it kind of radiates out. And if we think of the world as a raft that we're all just on together, and he goes, or your city or your community or whatever, you're in the raft with all these people. And if you can do that healing within yourself and maintain that calm within yourself, you are in fact helping the people around you. And that's going to create a more beneficial experience. So even rather than like, okay, this person's freaking out and then like jumps off the raft, which freaks everyone else out, just because there was that one calm person on the raft, it maintained a level of equanimity that person didn't have to jump off the raft.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that freakish traumatic moment did not happen. And now the little girl who's on the raft did not have the traumatic memory of seeing her uncle jump off the raft to kill himself.
Right.
And we can't, and it's funny because we can't actually say whether or not, unless you're able to like split timelines and see different timelines, you can't truly say what would have happened or wouldn't have. But if someone's calmer and then there's fewer traumatic experiences. So now, again, that little girl on the raft, her epigenetics are going to be a healthier expression.
Right. Or the pregnant mother is going to develop different genes for the baby.
Exactly.
If they're on the one raft that has Melly Gibson on it, just like chill, taking over Brendan Fraser at the helm,
We need Rick O'Connell on the raft.
We do. That's just super interesting. And then if you think about how many times a noble deed or a good deed or like someone being there for someone or just being strong in the moment, positive masculinity occurred, femininity, whatever, nurturing, avoided all these crazy more traumas to the human genetic structure. Like, you never know what, like, little, Swiss kid was like, some German dude was nice to him. And that little kid turned out to be like an accountant and not the leader of Switzerland who decided to nuke Germany,
whatever,
in the future, started World War III, whatever the case.
Right.
It was which would then avoided all kinds of traumatic, hits to the genome of the humankind.
Yeah.
It was able to better the future, right? The NASA effect is what's happening,
Yeah, exactly. So I think even if we don't have children, it still has an impact, and a very real impact, right? And then it does expand out. Well, it can go in various directions too, like. Oh yeah, that was the next thing I wanted to express. Because you're saying if you start that healing process or whatever,
right,
after you've already had children, is it did you miss your chance or something?
Right.
And to that, I'd say no, of course not, because one, it's never too late for any of this stuff. I mean, I've met people who are 70 who step onto a path of self-discovery for the first time and go, I lived a lie for 70 years. This wasn't the life that I wanted to live. And now at 70, I'm going to start playing violin or whatever, Right. And it's really beautiful.
Join the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's mom.
Hawke's mom. Yeah.
Right.
So that's still there. And I don't know. I think it changes something. I imagine it would, because there's still a lot of like kids adopt their nervous systems from their parents' nervous systems.
Right.
So even if they're born, take a really bad situation, a baby that's born addicted to heroin or something, right?
Right.
Because the mother was shooting up. If that baby's born when already there's some pretty serious health issues and gene stuff going on.
Right.
And then let's say not long after that baby's born, the mother and father clean up their lives and whatever, that's going to matter. That's going to matter a lot and have an impact.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah. And the good thing about the nervous system and, anxiety, all that stuff, is it's not something that is set in stone. You're just fucked forever. You inherit what you get. You can nurture it to change the way in which you respond to the nervous system, in which you respond to the anxiety, all this stuff, right? Yeah. By changing the mindset, building new synapses, doing positive fusion, negative diffusion. Yeah. And you can get yourself to like pretty awesome space, away from what would normally be natural for a crack baby or whatever the case. Yeah. There was probably a lot of like drug babies that turned into, whatever, lawyers, managers, successful mothers, fathers.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and this gets more into like my own, I guess, religious beliefs or whatever. So no scientific proof behind any of it. But I do believe that growth and maturation and healing happens over various lifetimes. I was talking with a psychic like a month ago. It was really fun, but she said, I asked her about one of the Geen sisters.
Yeah.
So funny. One of the Geens freaking a Nakasanaman, right? From the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what was that? I was like, that was a really just intense interaction that I had with this person. Like, what? Can give me some insight from the spirit realm if you're able to, you know? And I don't take any of it too seriously, you know? Sure. I'm not like, if she, whatever, I'm just also kind of playing. And she goes, and I go, was that a demon? And she goes, no, it wasn't a demon, but it was a black hole.
No,
I was like, oh, okay. It's just a black hole.
Thank God.
Which I just laughed. I really enjoyed that. And I go, is she ever gonna like get better? You know, is she ever gonna like really find her way in this life? You know, because actually, I mean, as shitty as that person was for me, nonetheless, my heart goes out to her, and I hope she's well. You know,
right?
And the psychic I'm talking to, it's just a friend from school, but she goes, it's going to take her a couple of lifetimes, you know? And I was like, and she doesn't know anything about this person. She never met her. I didn't tell her anything. I just go, yeah, I had this intense interaction and I want to ask about the person.
Right.
And she goes, okay, well, she has a black hole and it's going to take her a couple of lifetimes to get better.
Right.
Oh, and I really like that though, because it just makes sense to me, because there are some people, not to be down on, you know, I'm training to be a therapist. I want healing for everyone, whatever. But like, there are some people that are just so deep in some serious darkness that it's not going to heal in this lifetime.
Right.
They could maybe make a dent in
and
this
it's
lifetime.
Like a fool's errand to try to get them to change.
Yeah, to be like totally perfect.
Be like, do it now. It's just like, no, that's not their journey. That's
it's not.
Right,
yeah, and there could even be karmic punishment or something going on where it's like that person did some pretty bad stuff a few lifetimes ago and is still suffering the repercussions of that.
Right. What is it about the unnatural that we also find appealing? I'm thinking Aleister Crowley. I'm thinking making our cereal highlighter green and strawberry red 40. You know, this unnatural processed foods, unnatural spirituality, freaking the alchemists, all this stuff, right? What is it about that? Why? And even back to the beginning of this conversation, the chip in the head, the tool, freaking Space Odyssey. What service does that? You know, what is it? What's the benefit of having that within us?
Highly unnatural.
Highly unnatural. Natural. Hamlet. Is there something about our nature that holds us back?
Oh. By hold us back, you mean makes us want to indulge in all that stuff that's bad for us? Is that what you mean?
Well, say we were all 100%, you know, natural in the most normative sense you could think of in your head, you know, food, organic foods, freaking, you know.
We're all eating organic. We're all
organic,
connected with nature.
You know,
everything's pretty good.
Music, all that stuff, right? Would that hold us in some sort of evolutionary blockade? Or would that, like, you know, if we would have never beat the other ape with the stone tool that we found on the ground, the hammer, would we have just continued to be apes and grown, and this would have been an ape world with peace, you know?
Oh, interesting. So is it like, where does growth come from?
Where does growth come from?
Am I getting that right?
Is it in the unnatural?
Is growth in the unnatural?
Right.
Huh. That's a good question. What do you think?
I don't know. Now my wheels are spinning because I'm thinking like Hamlet. I'm thinking of our relationships, a Oxonomoon freaking. And then Fraser, Macbeth, even health and science itself, we're always just like, what are you gonna wash your hands? Dear God, man, he's dying. Stick your finger in there. But it was kind of the unnatural thing to be like, actually, we're not getting disease from breathing. We're getting it from touching things. Or actually, I really hate my relationship and divorce is on the rise because we always go for what's natural and like safe and, natural for my pheromones. Maybe I need to like break this shit up, maybe I need to be an Aleister Crowley. Maybe this whole religion is like holding us all back, from evolving. If we were to like do some alchemy or get out there and do some crazy like surgery on ayahuasca or something, we could change things, I don't know.
Well,
thoughts on the unnatural.
Yeah.
I'm also fascinated with it. Dracula.
Oh yeah, dude. We did several pods on demonology.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, we did a whole J to J demon thing. Demon encounter.
We did. Yeah. Pandemonium.
Yeah. Wait, can you give me the question in like one sentence? Or you just did, but I forgot, it went out of my head. Like what's the attraction to the unnatural? Is that the
what's
question?
The attraction to the unnatural, and is unnatural responsible for growth?
Great.
Must unnatural occur for the growth of the species to happen, essentially?
Okay, so my first, I'm gonna address the is it necessary for growth?
Right.
No.
Okay.
It is not necessary for growth. And I think that we are actually get attached to suffering because we are attached to the rags to riches storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this one's kind of hard to verbalize. Give me a second.
Sure.
So by being attached to the rags to riches storyline, what I mean is that we think that growth can only come from misery, from suffering. I was living in the fucking mud, and then
Right.
And then I had my rock bottom moment, and I started to change and all of that, which does happen. But I guess I'll just speak within myself. One thing I've been reflecting on a bit is that narrative within myself, this like, God, this is so hard to describe, like growing from suffering. I was very attached to that narrative and wouldn't actually allow myself full success because I thought that I needed suffering in order to create motivation within myself.
Sure.
But then if I need suffering to create that motivation and I want to have that motivation, I'm never actually going to let go of the suffering, and I'm never actually going to evolve to the place I want to evolve to.
Interesting.
Is that making sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So
you're a naturalist, baby.
I guess. So started to realize that because I was attached to that narrative, that I wasn't letting myself fully evolve. And then it was actually, wait, I can find success from a place of equanimity, from a place of calm, and from a place of well-being.
Right.
That it doesn't need to be my life was garbage and then I hit rock bottom and changed everything. Right. It could very much be I am happy and feeling good and feeling calm and well, and it's via that energy that things started to change,
right,
in a positive way, and grow and evolve.
Right.
Yeah, when I feel into that, I don't know if I'm speaking it correctly, because when I feel into it, it feels very significant, at least for me. But
right.
Yeah.
No, I see where you're going. I'm still kind of wondering what the appeal is then of the non-natural.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my idea of like cereal products, they're taking out like food dye coloring and all that.
Yeah.
And the people that over at Kellogg's and shit, they figured we would buy more food if it was like brighter.
Yeah.
Which is so fucked up to think. I mean, if you ask yourself that question, would you rather have neon highlighter red cereal or just like natural, like beige,
I can see where it comes from,
cereal? You know, you're right. You would probably be like, oh, of course, fuck that. Like, you know, whatever. But really, if you're just leaving it up to the optics and stuff,
yeah,
the brighter the meat, the steak is with the food coloring and shit.
Yeah. You know it's not right.
Your brain, it's not right. It's more natural to you.
Our ape brain is like, oh, that fruit is bright,
and we want to see
it's healthy. Yeah,
like fresh blood or like fresh fruit or like you know,
it's fresh. It's not rotten. Rotten's always like dark. Right.
Right. Exactly. And if you're getting like the fruit and berries cereal, well, you want those fruit and berries to be like purple the way you're nurtured to see them, and also natural to see them on a tree.
Yeah.
But these aren't even actually grapes.
So it's mimicking
just
the natural.
Like rice. You know? Yeah. So it's mimicking the natural. So honestly, their business might do worse without the colors. And also, fuck them. Like, take that shit out. It's ruining us. It's weird, you know. Same with the plastics. Oh my god, I've been getting into plastics research.
That's pretty terrifying.
It's terrifying. It's terrible. You know, got to get the plastics out. Got to get the coloration out and all that. Yeah. But there is a point. It is appealing. You know, and I don't know if the cereal metaphor translates to all other non-natural things like. Dracula or whatever the case. Yeah. But even take like the trope of the Dracula, you're actually living forever. So that's like the natural thing for us in our conscious brain is to be alive. We want to be alive. We don't want to die, all this stuff. Right? Yeah. So the appeal to the non-natural vampire is you just continue to keep living without death. You know? So there's always kind of like there's this coloring, brighter side of the non-natural. But
weird. It's usually the neon like non-natural.
The neon. Oh my god, that's gonna be freaking. Oh man, freaking Hofer would have lost his mind on that. You guys gotta coin that. Put it in your next essay. The neon natural.
The neon natural.
It's a scary place.
It is. Yeah. I just thought I want to come back to the motivation thing.
Sure.
Because I'm thinking Artemis going to the moon, part of the context in which that's happening, we got to go to Mars and stuff, is like, we need to leave our dying planet because we're killing Bill Maher. We're killing our planet while we just invest in saving the planet rather than going to the moon. So the context is the planet is dying, politics are fucked up, the country's failing, and these people are getting on a spaceship and going the furthest away that any human being has ever been.
Right.
The furthest away any human being's ever been.
Right.
That's what's really going on here. It's actually not about the moon. It's not about science. It's not about one day colonizing Mars. It's about getting as far away from here as possible.
Sure.
That's the real context. Right. So we can get into a spaceship and launch off into space from that context of like, the world is dying and we got to get out of here. And maybe one day we'll be in this utopian future that we're going to run to. Or we can just have a really healthy planet and healthy societies and still get into spaceships and explore the moon and explore Mars just because it's fun and cool and driven by curiosity and just like a sense of adventure, Rick O'Connell style, The Mummy. Like it doesn't need to be like, why does it always have to be that we're like growing out of the mud, you know? And if we're always attached to that, the neon natural, we're going to keep being freaking Draculas eating neon cereal sitting in the mud, when it's just like, dude, we can just like,
that's the title of our book. Yeah.
we can be in a healthy environment in our bodies and our societies, and continue to grow and improve and do well, rather than fucking destroying one another and all of our spaces.
I like this sort of thesis,
and then celebrating like the 3 people who get out. And that's another thing too. Getting as far away from Earth as possible, it fits into the same narrative of fucking billionaires capitalism, where it's like, well, look at what we've accomplished. Freaking Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and whatever for centuries now. It's like, it's like we create a fucking cesspool so that we can celebrate like the 2 people who get out of the cesspool. And then call that progress. Yeah. When it's like, why don't we just not live in a cesspool? And we can still succeed and do cool stuff.
Exactly. We can still eat cereal.
We can still eat cereal.
The Unnatural, you know? Yeah. And a big corporation, their goal, like, oh, let's go to the moon. Hell yes. Oh, go to Mars, Bezos, freaking Elon. Yes. That's a Unnatural, because you're trying to get away from the Earth to another space, right? Yeah. So to colonize whatever, that is a non-natural, actually. Yeah. When really the natural space travel would be going to these places, like you're saying, for exploration, because our Earth is already cared for. Yeah. Why not? What's the ultimate goal of the sci-fi journey, the spaceship journey, is to find another inhabited planet. Habitable planet, another Earth, essentially. Maybe bigger, maybe the same, but it's essentially Earth for us, just cleaner and more natural resources, right? And we can get back to that. That would be the ultimate sort of, you know, communication with other species, whatever the case. Yeah. That's the natural space travel, you know, and is what could brings the hope in the NASA, you know. But right now, too attached to that sort of the neon, you know, the red Mars, you know, shit's red 40, you know, it's not good. You can't get, I think we need to first fix the natural space. Sure, Kellogg's will lose 100 million, but they're worth 9 billion. So it's completely fine if they do, you know. Sure, we can lose some of these, like, you know, non-normative ideas about space travel, getting as far away from this sinking planet as possible. Yeah. Or let's put some resources, let's fix our home, and then let's travel with intent, you know? Yeah.
It's like, why do we always have to be like running away from the unnatural and from the pain and from the, it's like, dude, let's just enjoy what we have, you know? And then the people who do get out, they look back and then criticize all of us who are still living in the cesspool, and it creates this like false heroism or something. And it's like, oh, well, you didn't work hard enough and it's your own fault that you didn't succeed and all of that. It's just dude, it's like 2 people out of a million, 2 out of every million people that like really, really succeed. Yeah. And then create this narrative of whatever, hyper individualism and all that kind of stuff. Sure.
Yeah. And that just carries on this sort of dark government that we have. Yeah. Epstein secrets, UFO secrets, blah, 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 blah. The excluding people, right? Yeah. Exclusionary zone. Yeah. You know, we need the inclusion. We need the inclusivary zone where all of us are able to enjoy, partake, learn, and grow. Yeah. Healing the genome. Yeah. And really flushing out the Unnatural.
And it's all flushing out the Unnatural, baby. And there's the stories we tell ourselves also really matter. So Space Odyssey, right? Right. Which suggests that the very first tool was a tool for violence and self-preservation, and a tool to self-preserve against scarcity and fear of the other. Right. Because that's that whole scene. There's like one little water source, and then this tribe of apes there, and that tribe of apes there, and then they're fighting over the water, which is a ridiculous scene because there's a whole bunch of water there and there's like 4 apes, you know, it's like, why don't you all just drink from the water? It's fine.
Right.
And that's one telling of the story, is that the first tool was a tool of violence and self-preservation. The reality is we don't know. Kubrick didn't actually know. Did he go back in time and find out? No.
Right.
For all we know, the very first tool was, I mean, there's monkeys today, like your chimps or whatever, that take sticks and then put it into a log with a bunch of like ants and termites on it, so they get on the stick and then he eats it, you know, like a
chopstick.
Yeah, like chopsticks or something. That's a tool, you know. It's an early version of a primate using a tool, and it's like dude's just getting a snack. Right. And like a pretty enjoyable snack. Ants are like really sweet for them. It's like he's gotten some candy, you know.
Right.
And there's a surplus of it. It's just like there's so many ants in the world. So there's no scarcity there. He's not beating the brains out of another ape in order to like get his snack.
Right.
You know, so the very first tool could have just been that, you know, something super simple. It could have been, this is probably a little romantic, but something creative, you know, maybe a early human taking a stick and like drawing something in the sand and being like, oh, whoa, that's interesting.
Right.
So it's the stories we tell ourselves, you know, that the world is trash, the world is trash, the world is trash. We need to escape it and survive and blah, blah, blah. When it's just like, maybe scarcity is a myth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Maybe the way things have not been as bad as we've are so predispositioned to think.
Yeah.
And the way forward or better is not by going down first and then ascending.
Yeah.
It's actually maintaining your flight course and being able to do a gradual ascent, which is something that's not as drastic, certainly not like as appealing narratively formed, but more effective in the end.
Yeah.
You know, we will live longer without the bright neon red freaking Lucky Charms, you know. We will live longer without, you know, whatever the case.
Yeah.
Just got to trust in nature, in the natural.
Yeah. Just this recognition of like I got in my car today, or no, it was in class when we were doing that like meditation thing, and I felt this like I'm succeeding. I'm doing really well generally. Like school's been really cool, hanging out with friends.
Right.
Work is stupid, but I've decided to make a change there because it's like, why am I doing it?
Right.
Dating Isla, that's been really special and good, you know? So it's like, why am I like, it's been really nice. And just like, I'm chilling. Things are good.
Yeah.
You know, I feel healthy.
Sure.
It's like, so that like the earth is cleaning up.
Right.
You know, and I feel in a way like, oh, I've lost my edge or something, you know, because I don't have this like intense motivation of like,
Crowley,
like I gotta, you know, it's just like, no, I'm just enjoying.
You're the natural Jared now.
The natural Jared. And it's, and there's some discomfort there because actually just being like, no, I'm good. Everything's fine. Feels kind of unfamiliar.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, just like, oh, okay.
Right.
And getting comfortable. It's almost like updating my mind or my nervous system.
This is
that's
interesting.
Like,
yeah.
You know?
Because I wanted to talk about change. And one thing, change is so scary because it's not natural anymore. Like, you know, if you play baseball every single Friday for 8 years, it's just natural for you to throw a ball.
Yeah.
To go play baseball. It's like unnatural for you to change that up, you know?
Right.
But sort of blending it towards what you're saying, like it was natural for me and you to be dating a Nox on a moon. Natural for me and you to be like struggling financially because we were in graduate programs and trying to get degrees and all this stuff.
Yeah, you struggle for so long.
And then you come back to more of a natural headspace, which is peace of mind, a little bit more money, some roots, cool relationship, whatever, finding a good job, whatever. It's a change, right? And that's sort of what's scary too, is we can become naturalized to the neon natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we need to detoxify ourselves from it somehow, some way. And then
I love that.
You need to sit with it so that you build the new synapses, you readjust, reorientate your nervous system to now react and live with a more natural space for your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, all that stuff, sexual health.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
We're really getting into it, Jare. This is great.
Now you're getting into it. Yes.
Like, yeah, we get so accustomed to the neon natural that the natural feels wild. I mean, take like these programs that take kids out of the city to go like backpacking for a week or something in the mountains. Sure. And kids, like, their heads explode because they see the Milky Way galaxy for the first time.
Right.
And it's like, what? And people even get scared of seeing that number of stars, and the immensity of it is just like, oh, this is too much. I got to go back back to the city. And yeah, we just get so accustomed to that neon natural that when we are just in the natural J to J space, it's there's like a vigilance there too.
Right.
Like kind of unsettling, you know?
Yes.
Is this okay? Am I going to get in trouble? Is this all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, and then generationally too.
Sure.
I mentioned the ancestors in Ireland, Great Famine, Italy, a bunch of just farmers living in poverty.
Sure.
Your side, a bunch of heartbroken Valdez men, heart disease for 9 generations.
Scottish men, heartbroken.
Yeah, and all the violence and war that went on in New Mexico, all this kind of stuff. So it's all there, and that's perhaps what we are so accustomed to, that once it reaches a point where it's like, that's not the environment anymore.
Right.
Like, we're good, dude. We're not with the Noxana moon. We're not, I'm still a grad student, but we're not, going to UNM, living in Albuquerque, doing teacher stipends for like, $12 a month, whatever it is. So it's like, it's okay. It's like, we're good.
Yes.
And that feels unfamiliar.
It does. It does. Right. But I think there's lasting benefits. So you gotta really love Lucky Charms, but then they change the color and really bummed out about it. Might taste a little bit different, whatever. Maybe it doesn't, but your head thinks it does, whatever the case. But the more and more old Jimmy eats those new natural Lucky Charms, month after month, he's gonna have more energy, better fiber.
Right.
The autism's not going to be growing all crazy because of the red 40, doing mental health damage.
Oh, this is great.
To the reproductive system, all that stuff,
Yeah.
Then you start getting the health benefits. Same now, that metaphor to the J to J verse.
Yeah.
The J to J natural world.
Yeah.
We have healthier relationship. We stick with that,
Right.
It may not taste as good as the Nox on a Moon Lucky Charms, But those are killing you. They're literally killing the mental health, the physical health, driving us insane. So the more that we purge out that neon natural toxin, and the more we sit with the natural space, the EVs of the world, working at a healthy place, you get some patience, whatever the case, the more that we sit with this, the better things are going to be in the long run, both mentally, both physically.
Yeah.
It's almost like exposure therapy for the natural, non-exposure to the neon.
Yeah, I like that.
Natural, right?
Yeah.
You're like exposing yourself to, and it's what happens, in the past couple of pods, I've said that, was dealing with anxiety, had like panic attack, whatever. The only way to go through that and to really get rid of it and purge it out of your body is by immersing yourself in the things that you think are going to get you into that position. So if we think of it that way, well, what's the only way we're going to be able to live our natural selves, our natural lives?
Yeah.
Is we need to immerse ourselves in that shit, natural foods, natural healthy relationships, sexuality, you name it. The more we expose ourselves to it, the more it becomes part of our genome.
Yeah.
And we accept it.
Exactly. And things perpetuate themselves. By which I mean, things is such a shitty description. Just things, dude. Just all things.
Sure. Right.
Energies perpetuate themselves. So let's say you're in the light, the natural, that's what grows. That's the seeds that we're watering, right? If we're in the grungy, gritty space, that's what grows. You know, it's just what seeds are we watering. If we're generating more violence, thinking that that's going to lead to more peace, it's just like, no, because violence begets violence, love begets love. So it's just start where you want to be is actually another kind of time doctor approach to these things, right? Start where you want to be. Just be there already. And that's hard because there's all this. I mean, if literally our genes are saying, you know, I'm panicking, I'm freaking out because I'm holding generations of trauma, it's not so easy to just be like, oh, we'll just invite love and light into your life, and then that's what will that's what will perpetuate itself, and before you know it, you'll be living in love and light. So maybe it's just small steps, and that's why these things could take lifetimes. But
you know, opening up a little piece of the blinders, one after the other, before you know it, the whole window is open. You know, and I like that growth in the sunlight, but healthy natural growth, fruit trees, you know, strawberry plants, all this stuff. Does it mean you won't grow in the dark? You will, but it'll be a more disgusting, sort of non-normative, non-natural space. Think about the bacteria that they found growing inside the Chernobyl dome. Wild. That stuff is like feeding off of like nuclear energy in there. They don't even know what it is. It's like a new species of goo. You know?
So weird.
And you know, which could be argued as being like cool and like adaptive, but that's another conversation. For this metaphor, if you remain in the unnatural space in Chernobyl, if you keep dating the Anoxana moon, the Emoteps, if you keep, you know, whatever the case, eating bats and trying to make the Philosopher's Stone, freaking alchemy, you know, the occult, whatever the case, I think you can really grow into a shitty person.
And we can,
because you don't just stay who you are, you actually amass the darkness. You know,
we amass the darkness.
You grow in the shadow, and it's even harder then to come out in the light.
Exactly. Very well said. And maybe I don't have anything to add to it. You know, that's pretty good. Yeah. Actually, I'll share. I had this experience during one of the ayahuasca things the other week where it was just light coming in, right? Tripping, seeing visuals, actually thing. It's just light. Really pleasant, beautiful light. It's like, wow, that's really nice. And the light was getting so bright that I was like, too much. I can't, too much. So I was resisting the light. And then later on, and then even actually in that moment, even I was like, oh, there's something, there's a lesson there. I'm resisting the light. Huh. Okay. So then I was like, let me see, can I just like relax and see if I can open up more to that light, and could a little bit, but still like a lot of like, oh, too much. But it just showed me, okay, I'm resisting the light, and in that trip space, whatever, just tripping, spirituality, sure, you know. But then I was thinking about it as metaphor for my actual day-to-day life. I was like, oh, in what ways do I resist light in just interactions in day-to-day life? You know, am I actually holding on to darkness, things that make me uncomfortable, all that kind of stuff,
right? When
I don't have to, when I could just be hanging out in the light.
Sure.
Right.
It's about identifying the shutters that we put on ourselves that are keeping us in the dark.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. We can get into like, what are those shutters?
Okay, so I think that's why can also be argued that the unnatural is a means for growth. Because if it's natural for you to be antisocial, it would be unnatural to seek out a friendship, 2 friendships, 3 friendships, and then actually meet those people for coffee and actually call them and text them back, whatever the case.
Yeah.
But then what ends up happening is you open the shutter and you grow.
Yeah.
You know, again, the isolation was the neon natural.
Yeah.
And then the socialization was the natural, you know.
Yeah.
It was the light shutter, whatever the case. So, or dating a Knox on a Moon. I'm going to date Evie this time, you know. Boom, another shutter opens, opens. Identifying that and then leaning into it. And then, of course, you start growing in the light, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So there's that quality too of because that, like, I guess what I'll describe as like that rags to riches kind of thing. Like I was in the mud and then I was living in poverty and then I made my money and now everything's all great. You know, that just success story that we love in America. There is a time and place for that.
Right.
And there is motivation that does come from like, okay, I'm sick of a Knox on a Moon.
Right.
I'm sick of social isolation. I'm sick of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be motivating and there is a time and place for that. But I think we maybe overemphasize that story to the point that we're just, I don't know, keep finding shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we lock ourselves into that darkness. Then you become the Chernobyl disease. You know, that's coming in there.
Then you become the neon natural.
Right. Exactly. Ooh.
Yeah.
Then you become the neon natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we could. And that speaks to the nature of change and how you said we're kind of always in that state of malleability and change. Because if any of us wanted to, we could go become the neon natural.
Sure.
Right now, it wouldn't take that long to really destroy our own lives.
Right.
If we really want to enter that like film noir level of shitty things in our lives, let's go. There's a lot of weird dark alleys we could go hang out in. And in like not even that long, in like 3 months, I don't see you in 3 months, run into you, and I'm like, man, dude, are you okay? Like, you're not looking too good. Where have you been? You know? And you're like, I've been chilling in that alley over there. Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a scene in the Batman with the Dark Knight Returns, and the Joker's like, that's the thing with sanity. It's like gravity. All it takes is a little push. You know?
That's a good one.
And it's true because, you know, me and you start smoking fentanyl this afternoon or whatever. We're going to be going through some weird times this week.
It's not going to take long.
It's going to be really crazy and bizarre. Yeah. Or like I quit the college and like decide to go work at, you know, I don't know, freaking Fantasy World in Albuquerque or something. It's just going to be like not weird. It's just going to be, or if I like join the military or something like that, well, then I wouldn't see Dalton anymore. I'd have to go on deployment. I might die, all this stuff. It's crazy how like neon natural chaos can just, you know, one decision can sort of lead us down that tunnel.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I wanted to leave this for the robot at the end. But I really like Darwin's quote on change. It's not the most powerful or the most knowledgeable that survive. It's those that are best able to deal with change.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, you know, when you're experiencing sort of the natural again, and in the neon natural space in your life. Remember, it's those who are better able to adapt with change that are going to survive. You know, let's survive J to J.
On behalf of the Jareds, thank you for listening. Follow, comment, and tell your friends. The boys will be back next time, and always remember, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. we